a video on something that I just want to have a bit of faff around with. I want to do layers of breadcrumbs and tomato, but so I just kind of need to work out a recipe as I kind of quite go. I've had it in my head for a little while, and I was just kind of thinking, let's kind of have a go. Kind of like you stuff tomatoes or stuffed peppers with meat and breadcrumbs and things like that, and it's bake it in the oven. It's delicious. But I was kind of thinking, could we do like layers, and how would that turn out? Like good quality breadcrumbs, toasted. So I'm gonna fry these off. I'm gonna add some olive oil. There's about 270 grams worth of bread in there, and then we'll kind of weigh it as how much kind of liquid we lose and how much olive oil we add. So how much do I reckon? I reckon we'll do tablespoons. I can always measure a tablespoon of oil. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to fry them first, and then get them toasted, and then we might just put them in the oven just to kind of dry out a little bit more. That's 4. We're going to need more than 4, and I don't think this will be enough. So, but I've got some dried sourdough, so we'll put that as well. 5, 6. We'll see how that goes. But we need to drive off that moisture, because a lot of moisture is going to come out of the tomatoes. So it's going to be a case of we need to get rid of the moisture in the bread, so the bread soaks up the moisture in the tomatoes. And then I'm using the big beef tomatoes, because I was kind of thinking there wasn't much liquid inside them, but as I cut into them, we've got all kind of that, so we need to kind of get rid of that as well. So we need to either poke it out. I was kind of thinking that maybe we need to cut the top off, poke down with a spoon, and then squeeze out. Otherwise, we're going to have to use a different type of tomatoes, but I've already bought these now. So there's about 6 tomatoes, and that amount there. So I'm going to fry this off, drive off some moisture, probably bake it in the oven so it's all nice and crisp. I think there'll be enough olive oil in there. Just move it around a bit, and then we'll see how it turns out. But I think this will be nice. You need to use good quality bread. You can't use like Mighty White or anything like that, because it's just got no flavour to it. We need something with a bit of flavour to it, because essentially all it's really going to be is bread and tomatoes. But anyway, so we're back when those a little bit close to being ready. I've been having thoughts about these tomatoes, and I want to get rid of the seeds out of them. And I was kind of thinking that what we can do is we could do it, once we slice them, we can just kind of get rid of the seeds this way. But that seems like a bit of a faff. I mean, I don't want to just scoop out the centre, but that seems like we're going to have to slice the tomatoes and then kind of do that to every tomato, which seems a little bit like a bit of a rigmarole, you know, like a bit of unnecessary work. So, but we get that. It doesn't take too long. But I was kind of thinking, is there another way? So I've cut the top off the tomato, and can we just do it in one go? Kind of stick a knife in and just loosen all the seeds and things like that, and get the seeds out that way, and then slice it. Will that work better? And I think it will. I just want to get rid of the seeds and the excess amount of liquid, because all that liquid that's come out there is just going to make the dish really wet, and that's not what I want to do. So I think loosening them like that and then slicing them is the way to kind of go. And then I think, just to get rid of a little bit of excess moisture, I've just done a little test, and I just sprinkled one of these slices that I've got rid of the seeds out of with a little bit of salt. Season it, but also it just gets rid of a little bit more moisture. So I think that's what I'm going to do. It'll just kind of get rid of any excess moisture, and then it's nice as that. Don't waste it. I think what we'll do, I'm going to put an onion in. I'm going to saute off a couple of onions, I think I've got 4. I think I've got 4 onions left, so I think we'll use 4 onions, and we'll strain off the seeds out of that, and we'll use that liquid just to kind of saute the onions. So we're concentrating the flavour, so it'll taste nicer. But I think that's kind of the way to do it. So we've done that, and then we want about that kind of slice. And has that worked? And we might just need to neaten them up slightly, but we've got rid of most of the seeds that way, so that's going to be no use. But has that worked? Kind of. We can just neaten this one up a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of worked. That saved us the majority of the work. So we've just had to neaten up that slice like that, but the rest of them, it's kind of worked. It's done a little bit of a job. It's got rid of quite a lot of the moisture. Yeah, so that kind of works. That's what I'm going to do. So these have worked. You know, we've got rid of that amount of liquid there. Is there an easy way to do it? Probably not. I think either way, it's not going to save you that much time, but you can do it either way. So you can either slice it, then knock the seeds out, or you can take the top off and kind of do it that way. So, but that's fine. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to salt them, and then we're going to drain off the excess liquid. Just a little bit of salt. So I'll kind of show you. It has to be free running salt, so it can't be like fancy sea salt or something like that, or maybe something you're going to grind yourself. That'll be fine. But it's just a bit of a sprinkle on the top, sprinkle on the bottom, and then we'll just leave it for an hour, just for the excess amount of liquid to come out of it. And then we're going to drain it. We'll save the juice. We'll cook the onions in that juice, and then we'll get around to faffing around with the breadcrumbs. Right. So the breadcrumbs are done. What was this? About 270 grams worth of breadcrumbs when they were proper bread, and then I added 6 tablespoons worth of olive oil, and that weighs about 90 grams of 6 tablespoons. So we can work out how much kind of liquid the breadcrumbs have lost by weighing it now. So I've got, actually no. So I've done some other breadcrumbs as well. These were from something else. I've toasted those in olive oil as well. So I need to know how much they weigh first. So they weigh, including the olive oil, they weigh 280 grams. And then we'll add these, just turn that down a bit. Then we'll add these breadcrumbs on top of that. So that was 280 grams, and then this is going to weigh 563 grams. So that's only for my benefit. That just kind of lets me know how much breadcrumbs we've got and how much olive oil. So kind of like the weight before and the weight after. So I can work out how much fresh bread you need if you're going to make your own breadcrumbs. So that's just about doing the proper recipe. Yeah, 2-second rule, that was on the floor. So those are the breadcrumbs we're going to use. I've also got, just in case, I've got some old Melba toast which I made from when I first started making sourdough. I dried these out. Made sourdough, dried these out, and it's like a world of difference from where my sourdough started to where it kind of ended up. So if I haven't got enough breadcrumbs, I can use these as layers. And I suppose you could just buy something similar to that, like crisp breads, and make it in the same kind of way. Now, so out of the way, I'm running out of space. So this is the liquid that came out of the centre of the tomatoes, and that is about 200 millilitres. And then, so I've strained the seeds out of that, so it's just liquid. And then this is all the liquid that's going to come out of the tomatoes, which we salted, and you'll kind of see how much liquid kind of comes out, which is a lot, which would have made this dish a lot soggier than it actually is. So I think that's worth doing. Because we've got like another 200 millilitres of liquid. So we've got rid of 400 millilitres worth of liquid, which would have made this dish kind of quite a little bit too soggy. So now the breadcrumb only have to soak up the excess juice that comes out of those tomatoes rather than the extra 400 millilitres that we've taken out of them. But we're not going to waste that. That's what we're going to cook these onions in. So because I've already put olive oil in the breadcrumbs, I don't want to put any more olive oil in, so I'm going to dry fry these, but I'm not really dry frying the onion. I'm going to use this tomato liquid to kind of steamy fry cookie the onions. So we'll get the flavour. That's nice. We'll get the flavour of the tomatoes, but not the excess amounts of juice. And then it's going to be a case of layer everything and kind of up. So we'll just mix that in there. So we've got a mixture of breadcrumbs, and I think it's going to work. So I'll cook these, and then we'll layer everything up. And then I was just kind of thinking that it is actually a vegan dish, this. So I haven't decided yet, but I've got a cheap mozzarella which I was in the supermarket, and I thought I'll just buy a cheap mozzarella, and then maybe we'll put slices of mozzarella on top, and breadcrumbs the final layer, and then just a few mozzarellas, or maybe we'll leave. I haven't decided what we're going to do yet, but maybe we'll just put a bit of mozzarella on top as well to kind of, when it goes in the oven and bakes, I think that'll be kind of quite nice. But those are my plans. So I'm kind of, as always, winging my way through it, but making a proper recipe as we go, because I can just make things and just kind of to eye and to touch and kind of feel, but that's not really useful if you want to replicate the recipe or you want to tell someone how to make something. So I need to make the recipe up as to go along. But anyway, so that's where we are. Wait for these to cook, and then it'll be a case of layering it all together. And we might, I don't think any more liquid will come out there. It should be fine. I think they'll hold together quite well, but we'll see how we go. Right, I have decided I'm going to do 5 layers. Tomato first, some onions, then breadcrumbs, or maybe, no. I think, yes, maybe, no, breadcrumbs first. So we want breadcrumbs to kind of go in the gaps. So I want 100 grams of breadcrumbs. So maybe I should have put onions on the bottom. We'll do 4 layers of onions, it'll be fine. So what's that way? Right, so that's about 100 grams, and then, so we'll do 4 onions. So easiest way to kind of divide things is like it's round, so we need 4, so we go a quarter of those in there like that. So a quarter of those in there like, they are delicious. Tomato and onions. Those in there like that. Spread them around a bit. And then another layer of tomatoes. That and there. So how did I do it? I did stagger it. So that one there, that one there, that one there, and then one there. I suppose you do the big ones bit first. That one there, and then it's a case of cutting the other bits to fit in the gaps. So no. You get the idea. So we're building up layers like that. That can go in there like that. That can go in there like that. And then that's it in there. That. There. That there. And then rinse and repeat. So another layer of breadcrumbs, then onions, and then carry on, and then it should squish down a bit. So that's my idea anyway. So I'll carry on, until I've done, until it's topped up, and then we'll see what it looks like. We're done. It only really did 4.5 layers. So I've just put some of the tomatoes on top and then covered with breadcrumbs. I haven't yet decided if I want to put the cheap mozzarella on top. I'm going to go swimming, and I'm going to put it in the oven on about 125 degrees, something like that. I'll be out of the house for about an hour and a half. Ooh, just need to keep an eye on that milk. So I'm going to be out of the house for about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer. So that's about the right kind of temperature. And then we can decide when we get back if I want to put the mozzarella on top and kind of quite toast it. It would have been nice with a layer of mozzarella actually, but this is more about getting like the dimensions of the recipe kind of right. So how many tomatoes to how much breadcrumb to how much olive oil to how much onion type of thing. But anyway, so it'll go in the oven 120 degrees, 125 degrees. That'll cook it slowly in the oven, but I'd kind of say 170 in a fan oven for probably about 40 minutes until it's ready. I'm going to go out, so it's just nicer to have something to eat when I come home. I used all the breadcrumbs. I didn't have to use any of the normal toast that I made, so that's okay. Although that would be fine. But anyway, so that's that. It'll go in the oven. I'm going to go out, and we'll see how it turns out. So it certainly needed more cheese than that, but you know, it'll be fine. Let's cut into it. Let's have a look. And then we'll work out what kind of amount of liquid it needed or didn't need. Should I have got the excess liquid out of the tomatoes, or should I have left it in? I don't know. We'll find out. Let's go that way so we can get it out. If it holds together, it's the right amount of liquid. Yeah, getting the liquid out of it was certainly a good idea. Can't really see the layers. Well, let's have a taste. And then we can see what we think. I'll take a picture of that one, but we'll just bite into this one. Well, I'm going to burn my mouth, obviously, aren't I? Yeah, that's really nice. That's really nice. There's a Sardinian dish, which is layers of bread and tomato. Mazzamore. It's very similar to kind of that, but obviously I've used breadcrumbs, which were something I had around the house, and then there's beef tomatoes. So yeah, very similar to that. Nice. Even better if there were homegrown tomatoes out of the garden. There we go. Yeah, it works. It's nice. I'm going to enjoy it. It's not as pretty. I suppose you can see the layers there. You can kind of see the layers there. Yeah, it's nice. Works. Not too much work to make it. Happy enough. Would have been nice with some herbs in and some more cheese on top. Or maybe a white sauce on top, so it was a bit more lasagna-y. But anyway, there we go. Certainly needs more cheese. But I'm happy.